don't know if anyone recognizes the need immediately for Tom and the Stimson Group. I think it's something that after being exposed at workshops and conferences that he puts on, you start to ask yourself questions, then you find yourself asking Tom questions, and then you find that you have a need for his services. I think we ultimately hired Tom because I had run the company for about 20 years. We got into kind of a groove of things, and it was time to change the groove and to start asking some new questions and really forecast a different future for the next 5 or 10 years. And that's when we reached out to Tom and asked him to come and be a part of the discussion. I think when you've worked hard enough, long enough, you start to wonder if there's a better way and a different way to do things. And for us, that was right around probably that 20-year mark. We were going through a couple of different changes, and it was really time to set up what's our future going to look like? How do we become the same company but a different company, a better organization to be a part of? We wanted to see a more profitable company. We wanted to see a more cohesive workforce. And we wanted folks to be where they should be, where they do their best work. And we weren't there yet. And that was why we had to have the conversation. What was great about Tom is he came into our office, he spent an evening with me, we went to dinner, we talked about things, we identified what our struggles were, I gave him some insight on the company, and the next day he really felt that he spent the entire time with the organization, and he was in conversations with our employees, he did some training, he did some teaching, he really challenged some of our premises of how we do things, and then we had a chance to get together and debrief, and he shared insight on, hey, this is what's going on with this employee set, or here's what I see that's going on that you may want to address, you may want to consider doing things differently. And ultimately, over the next couple of years, what he did in that conversation and that experience, that project, was he seeded the conversations that were yet to come. And employees felt more empowered to ask questions. I felt more empowered to ask, is there really a better way to do it than what we're doing? And together that really changed a lot of how we worked. I think for us, better was identifying the strengths and the weaknesses, letting the strengths kind of maintain, but really focus on the weaknesses. With us, it was cost of goods sold, it was how we were doing some of our pricing, it was understanding who wears what hat within the organization and how we make all of that play together a little bit better than had been working before. The pathway for us was the opportunity to shift from where we were to a new place. Instead of just continuing to run the company year after year after year after year, seeing similar results, some environmental impact, some employee changes, some client changes, we weren't running the company. It was almost like at times it was running us. So our big impact was shifting to a pathway to how do we want to run Creative Visions? How do we want to run this organization for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? And that was a new and fresh place to be. We thought we were proactive. We thought we were counterintuitive to how a lot of competitors or peers ran their organizations in the industry. But we hadn't quite thought of all the questions to ask, and we certainly hadn't figured out how to change the ship's direction. And a guy like Tom challenging you with his years of experience, you can't help but wonder after you have that conversation, I think we could do better. How do we do it? We as an organization now are more profitable than we've ever been in business. We look at 6 years of data and we see that our median event is literally, I think it's 7 times what it was 6 or 7 years ago. We see that our average event is 2 or 3 times over 6 or 7 years ago. The impact on that financially, as well as organizationally, is just huge. It's partially about the profitability, but it's also about a real focus on how to meet your clients' needs and how to offer them a solution that we previously weren't offering, and now we can because we're focused on our time and on our execution and on our strategy in a different way. My first response is Tom is always Tom. He is going to sit and have an honest conversation with you. No matter what your question is or what his answer is, he's going to give you the benefit of his experience. He's going to look you in the eye and say, this is what we know. And he's going to ask you, how do you want to apply that to you? And that's a very challenging question for a business owner to answer. Before you hire Tom, you want to know that you're willing to hear a different truth than you previously believed, that you're willing to make some changes, Because if you're willing to engage that change mindset, you're going to see a lot more return on the investment from a Tom conversation than you are if you think you went with the right answers. And for us, that's the greatest endorsement we can give of a consultant. And then you realize this is a guy that really cares about your business. It really matters to him how you individually as an organization do, because you're a part of his process. You're now a part of his organization. And the more impact he has on you, the more it reflects on his own personal integrity and business value and the ethics of what he brings to the conversation as a consultant.